If you've ever felt less attractive because of your body or how you feel about it, I want you to know that you're not alone. I've spoken to hundreds of men about this exact thing, and while the conversations sound a little bit different, the pattern is very similar. Today we're going to be talking about what women notice beyond the initial appearance and the mental shift that you can make to feel more confident in your body, especially as you're getting out there and meeting new people. If you're new to my work, my name's Courtney Shand. I'm a relationship coach, and I love helping men show up with more confidence and clarity as they move into dating, because this is what allows your masculine energy to lead the dynamic into something that is more flowy, sexy, and deeply emotionally connected. Before my work as a relationship coach, I spent 11 years as a dietitian helping people make behavior changes for their physical health and specifically around emotional eating and body image. So I'm very familiar with this and the impact that it has on how we show up to our life. When we're not feeling confident about our body, or what people will say is, it doesn't feel like the outsides match who I know myself to be, that discrepancy holds us back from showing up more confidently, and even if not more confidently, just more relaxed, especially when we're meeting new people. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to share a little bit from the feminine perspective as well as my professional experience in the dietetic world. So you have a little bit of a roadmap if you ever find yourself struggling with feeling confident about your body. And before I share this first piece, I just want to say that I know there are people out there, men and women, who really put a high priority on physical attractiveness. And you've probably had experiences where things have been said that were very hurtful. And I want to say I am so sorry. And I want to share a little bit of context from a more emotionally mature feminine space, because these women are out there as well. These are the women that I've been coaching. These are women that are in personal development. These are women who are actively looking for this type of partnership. So I don't want to dismiss your experience in the past. And I want to move you into a space of looking for these type of conversations and these type of women and what's getting in the way of you having those. The first thing I want to talk about is what she actually notices. I know there's a lot of theories out there that attraction is primal. It's there or it's not. And while I hear what they are saying, I also find that that's not the full truth, because the truth is attraction can fade, which means that it can also be built and nurtured. And when we look at it through that lens, it keeps us from living in this kind of black and white reality where we either have it or we don't. When we opt into that type of paradigm, it creates a lot of shame when how we see ourselves doesn't quite match the gold standard, if you will. But when we are willing to play with the lens of attraction can be built and nurtured, that's when we start to show up more confidently, because you're able to bring the things that are naturally attractive about you and the energetic dynamic that you're wanting to create that will actually create attraction with a woman. Having spoken with hundreds of men about this, I can tell you that what a woman actually notices is how you talk about and act towards yourself. And that may be surprising to hear, because you've probably thought, she's either attracted to me or she's not. But the reality is she's listening to and repeating back and reflecting back what you are saying and how you're acting about yourself. Which is why the next few steps that I'm going to talk about are so important. Because when you start to explore what's happening internally for you, you're able to feel a little bit more in charge of how you're experiencing the world, and therefore how you're creating the dynamic that you're in. She's naturally going to be responding in a different way. And this can be as simple as noticing how you talk about your body. This is probably a similar experience to being across from a woman who always feels like she needs to be sucking in, needs to have her clothes sitting just correctly, have her hair perfect, her makeup perfect. It's beautiful and appealing, but you never actually get to know that person. You can't actually be attracted to that person because it's almost two-dimensional. What we want is a three-dimensional person, and that requires that we drop into the present moment and be present. So a woman's going to be much more likely to notice how you talk about and act towards your own body. She's paying attention to this because this is something that she's probably also struggling with as well. Because when we're putting ourselves in situations that cause us to feel vulnerable, we're actively trying to conceal or hide or protect the parts that we feel would be exposed in that situation. And the reason that I'm saying you would be better off to understand what's happening for both of you and to neutralize it is because that's what's going to give you the best experience of dropping that shield and being able to connect with another human being. The reason you're worried about it is because, and often unconsciously, it activates this naturally competitive part of us where we want to be chosen. We want to be the person, the best fit for this, the best man for the job kind of experience. And in your mind, there's probably also a story about your character that gets tied into the representation of your physical frame. For example, a lot of men have shared through the years, when I've asked a little bit more deeply about what they feel like is getting in the way of them experiencing that type of body or that level of fitness, there's almost always a story, and it's usually tied to your character. And it will sound something like, because I'm lazy, or because I'm undisciplined, or I just can't stick with anything, or I'll really commit for a few weeks and then drop off. Those are usually the stories that get activated, and so those are the experiences that we are most wanting to conceal and hide and keep safe in these new arenas. It will be showing up inadvertently in how we are posturing. You can literally see it in someone's body language when they're uncomfortable versus when they're calm and relaxed and comfortable in their own skin. Notice this next time you're with your friends, how you feel in your body, or even observe your friends, how they look physically, their posture, their frame, how they carry themselves when they're with their friends versus when they're in a situation that they're not quite sure about. This is actually kind of easy to read, and this is what, for the feminine who's very sensitive and intuitive in this way, she's picking up on. You may think she's unattracted to your physical frame, but what is actually creating the lack of attraction is that there's no nurturance of attraction on an energetic level, because you're busy focusing on protecting these parts of yourself that feel vulnerable, which is why I want to talk about it today, so that you can start to take inventory of that and get the support that you need in order to naturally reveal more confidence in this particular experience. Because the reality is your body is your vehicle to move through life, to go on your adventure, your mission. It's kind of your brand rep, if you will. And when we think about it from that lens, it gets to be a little bit more neutral. This is one of the longest standing relationships that you've had, is with your body and how you treat it, how you interact with it on a daily basis. And something that may seem really small can also feel really challenging when you feel like you've tried it 1,000 different times in 100 different ways and haven't been able to find the way that works for you to stick with. There's actually a system that I use with my clients who are working on building that accountability and discipline within themselves, especially when the traditional fitness model of going to the gym, doing reps, doing the meal prep hasn't worked for you long enough to experience the results that you're wanting to see. This is a little bit more of a dynamic relationship than most people would like to admit. And a lot of times the masculine way of doing fitness is actually preying on that story that you have been told of, I'm lazy, I can't stick with anything, I'm undisciplined, and using that as the fuel to move you forward. But what I can tell you is that there's another fuel source that we can tap into if that hasn't worked for you. And the fuel source is going to be this intrinsic, internal motivation that moves you forward in a way that feels both congruent for you but also natural. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's without challenge, but it will feel natural. It will be a natural evolution in challenge. And for a lot of my clients that have used this model, they've been very successful at implementing it. So I'm going to be opening up a few spots this month. If that's something that you're interested in looking into, feel free to set up a call. We can talk about what that would look like and how that can support you in your fitness goals, because we're looking at things from a more holistic lens, and that includes the relationship that you have with yourself and the story that you're telling about it. This is where the most impactful shifts start happening for my clients, and I'm excited to be opening up a few spots this month to help people in that way as well. So if you're having a moment of feeling really human in your body and not necessarily feeling attractive enough to draw in the type of woman that you would be attracted to, I can assure you that the things that she's noticing are different than what you're telling in your head, and that you're not stuck. There are ways that you can start seeing seeing the experience that you're having from a more empowering lens and create either a system for growth in your physical appearance, or at the very least, there's a way to start telling a story that will allow you to show up more confidently because you are showing up congruently. Your insides start to match your outsides when the story that we tell starts to match what's actually happening. This is part of the work that I love helping people with, and if you want some extra support on it, feel free to reach out. If you want to take this conversation a little bit deeper, check out the community link. I'm going to have some homework questions after this. I'd love to hear in the comments what your experience has been like in dating, if you have ever struggled with feeling confident in your body, or if there are some things that you have found really helpful. I love seeing you guys talk amongst yourself, sharing some resources, or feel free to share in the comments if there's anything that you have found helps build your confidence, especially early in dating, especially around your body and how you look and feel about it. If you want some more empowering mindset shifts, feel free to check out the dating codes. I do have a few of those in there that are body specific. And if you're looking for some resources to build your confidence and understand how women approach dating, check out Rooted. That's a really helpful resource to help you understand what you're bringing to the table too. As always, I hope this helps, and I will see you next week.